it's still August 2nd. Excuse me. I just had breakfast. I've been thinking about the elements. In one of MJ's readings, excuse me. One of her readings, she said that there were going to be two elements that were going to combine nicely. Two elements, right? They were going to come together. I'm primarily air in my chart. It's very strong air. This new fire sign, he's predominantly fire, right? And then I've met people that are predominantly earth, but I haven't met someone who's predominantly water in their chart. So I get a feel for what a person with a lot of fire seems like, a lot of person with a lot of earth feels like, and then clearly me. All over the place. I'm trying to find the connection, right? So this morning's morning message was a little bit different from NJ for August 2nd. She had 3 groups, and it's titled like "What Comes Next" or something like that. And I read all 3 because there's always something that you can take from it, right? A different part of myself. And then especially because I've noticed this theme, right? Like when I post my videos, a lot of like that just connection of the energy output, and then how sometimes the readings aren't speaking to my time, but they're speaking to the time in the video for me personally. And so I'm like, okay, so clearly there's like 2 different timelines that I'm working with, energetic output, right? If we're entertaining the idea, then there's that perspective, right, of what and then she like just talks about what potentially is coming to be, but for me it's like already unfolded. Right? Because those videos that I post are in the past, but yet the energetic output is still influencing the overall collective, and then therefore some of the readings like match that. And that's why when sometimes when they say some of you are doing this, some of you are here, you know, one of those groups is the old me, and then one of the groups is where my present timeline is. So where was I going with that? So that's why I read, bring it back to morning message. That's why I listened to all 3, because I figured one of those is going to be referencing my past timeline, my current timeline, right? Yeah. So I listened to all 3. I was able to get a little bit from each, but like there was a eureka moment in that she talked about air and fire, because this had been in my mind a while back, like just trying to find the connection between the different elements, right? This is all science. And then she made a comment. I was like, duh, Yubi, duh. Fire needs air to continue moving, like to continue being fire. It needs oxygen, it needs air to continue burning, And so then I was trying to think, well, where's the connection with earth? Fire moves earth. When fire, you know, when there's like those natural forest fires, because there's actual plants, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's actual plants that actually ignite on their own purposefully in certain forests, and they do that to clear out the earth, to kind of like move it to you know, because you know when you garden, like you're the one moving the earth, right? And mixing the soil, especially if you're creating your own compost, right? You're the one that's mixing. Well, the earth naturally does that with you know, all of the elements, right? With the wind and the storms that come, and the water that flows, and fire. So there are actual plants in certain parts of the world that ignite on their own. I forget what they're called. I remember learning about this in school. And so, and its purpose is to create a forest fire to clear out like the old and make way for the new. So I was thinking about that right now while I was eating breakfast, that air does that, right? Oxygen feeds the flame of fire to help it keep going, and then fire then clears out the earth, right? It moves it, right? Whether it's on the surface or even with volcanoes, right? Like the lava, the the forest, right? It's volcanoes, right? It's fire and earth mixed together. So it's moving the earth, right? So fire moves earth by force, right? It's not like, because then I was thinking the other thing, like air and earth, it's just like, but it only blows a certain amount. Like it's not as, it's very surfacey, right? It doesn't really get to the root of it, right? But fire does. Like fire just gets in there, and and you know, and that's why like landslides happen after fires, right? Because the fire like burns through the root of the plants and stuff, and so the foundation underneath, it's the roots of the plants that actually kind of hold the earth together to prevent landslides. But when there's a fire and then there's a bunch of rain, that's what causes a lot of landslides, because the whatever was holding it together is now gone, right? And so the fire gets in there, and it causes a shift in movement in the earth more than air can impact earth. And then I started thinking about water. Water adds to that element. It adds to the intensity of the flow, of the movement, right? Because the fire can only do so much, but then when the water comes, right, it's like this ripple effect. It's a ripple effect. The water then kind of like can potentially, right, shift all of the landslides, or even water in rivers, right? Water can the flow of the water can also shape the earth, right? In the rivers and the streams, and in the cracks that we see along the earth, where the water once was, and then even like the rocks, like when they're in a stream for so long, they start smoothing out, right? And even like sea glass, you see sea glass and it's smooth because of the force of the water. Without water, there's no life. Without any of the elements, there's no life. Potentially. Right? For you science people out there. So anyways, I was just excited about that revelation. Which is not a revelation, probably in my elementary science book somewhere. But I just got excited about it. Alright, that's it. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me. So take care.